Hocus Pocus 2 is the sequel 29 years later to the first Hocus Pocus film. I just recently saw the first Hocus Pocus myself, which came out in 1993, so that was 2 years before I was born. I know for a lot of people of my age range, of my generation, a lot of people, talk about Hocus Pocus very fondly. They, love it. They think it's a classic, Disney Channel movie. Hunter, you saw it when you were a kid?
Yes, I was never crazy about Hocus Pocus as a kid. I did see it, thought it was good, like it's tight, and rewatched it years later. I fall into the same camp. I think it's a good movie. I don't understand the classic label that it's slapped with. Tight.
Yeah, I mean, watching the first one for the first time, that's kind of how I felt about it. I was like, it's okay. I mean, maybe it's because now, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm an adult now watching it. I was just thought, okay, it's cute. Fun little kind of kids movie that you would watch, and then you have, these three witches, the Sanders sisters, who's played by Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and then who's the other actress here who plays the other role here?
I feel so bad because she was on Veronica's Closet, and I really liked that show. And Kathy something, I think.
Kathy Najimy, who plays Mary here.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, Sarah Jessica Parker had no business being this fine in Hocus Pocus. No business being this fine. I mean, like, geez.
It's probably the most I've been attracted to her, which I don't know what that says about me, but, she's not talking about shoes and shit, so maybe that's why. But,
yeah.
She's fine in the first one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I was just like, okay, this is a nice little movie, that you could watch. It's fun for kids. And it's got, like I said, the chemistry between the three sisters is really good. And I think that's really, of course, the really thing that makes the movie and their kind of performance. And their, like, even, like, I Put a Spell on You, their dance number sequence, I thought was a lot of fun. So I was just like, oh, okay. I mean, I don't really think it's like I don't really get the whole classic stuff necessarily with it. But I think, okay, hey, it's fine. You know what I mean? It's okay. So coming, like I said, 29 years later with this movie here, with the sequel, kind of series of events happen. You have a new group of kids here. You have some returning people. Obviously, you have the three sisters who returned from the first movie, but you also have Doug Jones, who makes a return in this movie as well, as the zombie here, Billy Butcherson, who was also from the first movie. But in this movie, you have a new group of kids, Becca, Izzy, and Cassie. Now they're more into the witch stuff than, they know about a little bit more about the witchcraft and things like that. Because you have to think about when the 90s movie was made, it's funny how they make kind of a commentary on that, how much time has kind of gone on, and that the fact that now more people have become sick individuals. We're all demented and desensitized, so we have no morals anymore. So more people into kind of all the horror and witch stuff and all that other stuff.
Right.
So you have that now here with these kind of three kids. You have Becca and Izzy, who are kind of into the witchcraft. They go to a shop and buy all the kind of the stuff of like witch stuff. The shop is run by Sam Richardson. People might know he was in Veep. There he plays Gilbert. A lot of it was kind of reminding me, like with a lot of the girls being very much into the witchcraft type of stuff. A lot of it was kind of a little bit reminding me of The Craft, a little bit like that, kind of a little bit more of a PG version of that. For me, but you have them, and then they kind of get into a series of events. Those events lead to, with Becca and Izzy, kind of lead to bringing back the Sanders sisters, one of the most powerful witches of the age. And then this movie also, the beginning of it, does set up some backstory with a little bit of the Sanders sisters, you know what I mean, and eventually how they kind of became witches. They do a little bit of a backstory there, which they have a little bit of a
they were taught by mommy. I mean, Hannah Waddingham. From,
yeah.
Boy, how were they?
Yeah.
Mommy. I mean, Hannah Waddingham.
You want to get involved in some black magic, girl? Come over to Reno.
So I thought that was kind of, they showed a little bit of that. They showed kind of some younger actresses playing the roles there. Hunter, what were kind of your thoughts on Hocus Pocus 2?
So I'm happy you brought up the young actresses, because that's kind of the biggest issue with the movie is that Taylor Henderson, who plays young Winifred, she's the best acting performance in the whole movie, and I don't really think it's particularly close. Um, she's amazing as like the young version.
It's a pitch perfect impression of Bette Midler.
Yeah, like
from this movie.
Yeah, it gave me Josh Brolin being Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black 3 vibe, where I was like, wow, you're nailing this in a way that's almost uncomfortable. She has a couple great comedic lines too. She talks about how, I took the Lord's name in vain twice, and I was like, okay, this is actually funny. And yeah, so for that first like 15 minutes, I was like, okay, movie, like I'm digging this. And look, this is kind of almost like Top Gun Maverick for me, where it's like I just don't really care about the first one, so like at all. Like I said, it's like a B- for me. The original Hocus Pocus, it's high, but watching this, I was like, yeah, I don't really need this, and I don't really know why it's here outside of corporate greed. I'm happy for people who like it. Like, this is the personification of a movie where someone would go, "Oh man, I really dug this," and I'd go, "All right." Like, it's just not worth my time to even argue about. It's like, okay, cool, you like this more than me. They make the main character Whitney Peak as Becca. If you've ever seen a kids movie, from 100 miles away where her character's going. Like, as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen. Like, it's we've done this for a while, y'all. Like, what's gonna happen with her and what her big reveal's gonna be. I think it's actually done in a pretty clever way, and Sam Richardson, in the way they actually bring back the sisters, it's a pretty dick move on his part, which I was actually kind of impressed with how they worked that into the mythology from the first film. So I mean, again, this movie's not devoid of like good shit. There are actually some good pockets of stuff, and again, as Nick said, mommy's in this, but yeah, honestly, it's one of these movies I'll go, someone will bring this up in a year, and I'll go, oh, that's right, there is a sequel to Hocus Pocus. Like, it's aight. It's aight.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly a description of it. I mean, like, I think this is, seeing them both back to back, seeing the first one and the second one back to back, I think there's some things that the second one does better. I think the ending is better than this. I think it's a little bit more emotional and has a little bit more of a punch to it. I think the kid characters in here, I think are better than maybe the first one. I think they just have more, I don't know, more to do maybe in this sequel.
They have more personality.
Yeah, a little bit more personality here, which I kind of like. Like, you have the whole thing of like, you try to bring in a little bit of drama where one of the friend, Cassie, they kind of broke off from her. Like, it's like, oh, you left us. No, and she's blaming them. They're blaming her. You kind of got that little, teen drama kind of going on. I was like, okay, that's really not all that interesting or all that kind of fascinating. But okay, it's there to add something else there, a B plot to this.
Yeah.
And like I said, like, what was great about the first one, the great thing about the first one was the sisters, was Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathy Najimy, all of them interacting. And I think it was kind of funny, them, because Bette Midler, it's basically like it's the Three Stooges, and Bette Midler's Mo. I mean, she's just slapping them and pulling them and telling them, like, kind of go over here, do this, you know what I mean? Like, that's basically kind of what it is. And I thought a lot of those moments were kind of, humorous when they did that. And I kind of liked some of that physical kind of comedy. Oh, hey, thank you, Illumina Podcast. Thank you for the raid with the 5 people. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ganja, Matt, and Ali. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, thank you guys. So yeah, I did think that stuff was good with all of them kind of interacting, and this being a movie now that it's set in 2022, they're gonna do the of course the conventional it's 2022 stuff. So it's like they have to see the modern technology. Like, there's a scene when they go into a house and they talk to an Alexa and they get freaked out and things like that. You know what I mean? So you're gonna either kind of like that or not like that. I thought one of the weakest parts was when they went into like a Walgreens. I thought that was
thank you.
I thought that was
so much for bringing that up. Like,
Yeah, I thought that was like really not good when they kind of did. I thought that was wasting a lot of time. Maybe Walgreens they paid a lot for the budget. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like it's so weird because the movie like stops to be a Walgreens advertisement for like 15 minutes. It's like, y'all, can we get out of this? Can we get out of this fucking Walgreens? There's someone doing crack right outside. Like we need to fucking leave. But they're in this Walgreens for so long.
It goes
Like
on way too long.
it's like its own like I think Dr. Manhattan becomes Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen faster than they get out of this fucking Walgreens. It's so long that they're in here for. It's like its own mini movie. It's really fucking weird.
Oh.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it never factors in to anything outside of them going, oh, these teenagers lied to us, which you think these witches would go, oh, maybe you don't want us to just eat you, which, you know, women eating teenagers phrasing anyways. But it's just weird. And the one thing I will give the Walgreens scene is that the one sister uses like those like the Roombas to fly on those.
Yeah, Mary.
And they use that later. Yeah, and they use that later on to get rid of like the circle of salt around them, which again you can see coming from a mile away because you know that's gonna be a thing. But that was at least kind of clever. I went, all right, this is kind of some buffoonery, but you found a way to work into the plot, so I gotta give you some credit for that. But yeah, it's kind of a weird movie because like Tony Hale's in this, and Tony Hale's great. Like you've seen him in a lot of shit. Like I mean, Veep is probably the thing that most people will go to, but he's in this and he gets so little to do. It's kind of weird that he's even in here because he plays like his great granddad, whatever. It doesn't matter. He plays like
The ancestor of.
Yeah, there you go. Of the mayor, and in the first bit, he's like a real asshole, and they don't come right out and go, "These are all Christians that are burning these witches," but they do everything but say it and kind of turn to the camera and go, "You get it? You get who we're talking about, right? You get this history books, right?" Like so, but he's actually really good in those bits. But in this, the mayor, he's just kind of a buffoon, and they don't really do anything with him and his daughter, Cassie, as far as like juxtaposition or their relationship being strained or anything like that. Like, it's weird how they kind of rush through a lot of shit, even though this movie's almost 2 hours. Like, it's kind of odd in that way.
Yeah, because I thought what they were going to do with the Tony Hale character, him being the ancestor of the the mayor of the kind of I don't know the first mayor of the Salem where they are and where the witches were at first when they first were born, that they were kind of going to do a thing where he still has those beliefs, like
I thought the same thing.
yeah, but they didn't do anything with that, and like he's into the Halloween stuff. Like he doesn't, he just wants to eat his candy apple. Like that's his big thing in the movie. Is just he wants to eat, So I'm just like, okay. I mean, they don't really do anything with that. The stuff with him and his daughter, it's just like okay, just like he's I don't think they do much there, anything with that relationship or anything relationship between really the friendship there with the teens. Until much of the end, which I said I did like the end. I thought the end was good. I thought it was kind of emotional too what they do with that. And like you said, you kind of do know where you're going with the character. You know what I mean? Like kind of what you do with these kind of kids movies nowadays. You know what I mean? You got to have something kind of special kind of going on. You know what I mean? To really kind of get kids interested in it. Maybe they think all kids want that. Yeah, but I liked, I liked a lot. Like I said, I liked a lot of the teen girls. Cassie, I don't think she really has much of a personality, really. The girl plays there, but
the guy she's dating, by the way, is gonna be that first big ex that she has and goes, I can't believe I dated that guy because Mike is a fucking idiot, and that is one thing that I like. He's a moron, and the way that their fight kind of starts at the beginning of the movie is because Mike just won't shut the fuck up. And it's one of those things where you go, this is a high school thing. Like, and I have to give the movie credit for that because, men are dumb, especially in high school. And so when the girls all kind of call him out for being dumb, he's like, wait, I'm being dumb? It's like, motherfucker, like, shut the fuck up. But,
yeah.
Yeah, like Cassie is just kind of there. I like Izzy. Um, I like Izzy and Becca's chemistry because that's mostly the two of them for most of the film,
Yeah.
and I think we kind of talked about the way that they're kind of tricked into bringing the sisters back. I thought was actually
Hmm.
clever because the first movie is like these dumb white kids messing with shit that they shouldn't have been, and while it's kind of that in this, except they're brown kids, the way they are kind of set up by Gilbert was actually pretty clever, and I went, okay, that's actually a clever way to kind of get them back in the fold. But to your point, the last bit does work as far as the emotional beats, but it's just not the smoothest ride to get there.
Yeah. And like I said, I did think I think they didn't miss a beat. I think the actresses coming back for the Sanders sisters, they didn't really miss a beat. Even after almost 30 years, I think they still, they still got it. Even Sarah Jessica Parker, hey, I think even she's still fine a little bit.
Oh
Um,
yeah, no. I mean, if you wore the makeup for me, like, I mean, yeah, if you, like, go
yeah,
ahead, Sarah. But yeah,
I don't know. Even though it was kind of looking a little D. Snyderish from Twisted Sister, but I still can work with it. You know what I mean? I still can kind of go with it a little bit. That's fine.
damn.
Um,
Wow, that's hilariously specific, but I appreciate that.
you know what I mean? But that's okay. I still can kind of get with it. Yeah. So it's just okay. It's just plain.
Yeah,
I think it's shot also kind of flat. Also, kind of like it's not really anything really exciting.
yeah. So I'm happy you brought that up because the director is Anne Fletcher, and she went ahead and directed the proposal. And I think the proposal's a great movie. I actually have a lot of fun with the proposal, but she's directed some bad shit. So she directed The Guilt Trip with Seth Rogen and Barbara Streisand. She directed Hot Pursuit with Sofia Vergara and
Ooh,
Reese
ooh,
Oh
Witherspoon,
man,
which is a
god damn.
piece of fucking shit. It was a
ooh.
horrible movie. But then she directed the first Step Up, which is sight, and then she directed 27 Dresses, which is really bad outside of James Marsden. So a
Mm.
very spotty directorial career, obviously, but um, yeah, there's just really no passion or nothing distinct about her directorial style, is what I would say.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna give it kind of a just slowish stream it for me. That's about it for me. I don't know. I'm not a Hocus Pocus loyalist, purist, super fan, or whatever. I don't know if you are. I don't know if you'll like this or not. I have no idea. I'm just coming in going like, okay, I think wasn't really a big fan of the first one. Not really a big fan of the second one all that much. I just think both are just okay. So I would give it a lowish stream it for me.
Okay. The people who enjoy Hocus Pocus are like people who go to Costco for free samples day. They're okay with small morsels to make up a meal. And in this movie for me,
Hey, hey,
it's
easy. I do that too.
well then okay, proving my point. But like it's it's fine. Like that's all I kept thinking the whole time. Like this isn't making me mad. This isn't like popping me outside of mommy. Um, there are some good acting pieces in here, but it's weird that you have again it's weird that you have Tony Hale as the mayor, and there isn't some sort of you fucked over my ancestors. Now I'm gonna kill you. Like that plot line's right there, and that would have been way more interesting. And they just go, "No, we're good." It's like, well, fuck. All right. And so, to Josh's point, the chemistry between the Sanderson sisters is still there. I think Whitney Peak and Belisa Escobedo, who play Becca and Lizzie, or Izzy, respectively. I think they're good. I think their chemistry is really good, and it admittedly it's kind of sweet to see the girls kind of form their own little like kind of coven to go ahead and to end the flick. I like Sam Richardson in it for what they do with his character, but it's just not super memorable. The new songs, by the way, are just kind of eh. Like there's nothing even close to "I'll put a spell on you."
Yeah.
Like nothing remotely fucking close. So if you think there's gonna be a memorable music number, you can leave that notion at the door. It's not here. But it's I think the people who enjoy the first Hocus Pocus will inevitably say that this is good and fine, whatever. It's a it's a it's a fine. It's a yeah, it's a low stream it. Like this is exactly where it needs to be. It's on Disney Plus. You can put it on now and watch it. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll stream it. It's alright.
Yeah. Just all right. 2 low streamers for Hocus Pocus 2.